Larkin, as a poet, composed something which was ahead of his time, yet he still made it relevant to the epoch he belonged. Greetings, literary aspirants. The voice of Asad Imran greets you on the assimilators. Let's dig right into Philip Larkin as a poet. Introduction. Philip Larkin is an English poet, novelist, and historian. He was born in 1922 and breathed his last in 1985. His stature as a poet is a debatable question, as many critics are fond of finding faults in his poetic compositions. However, there are also a lot of critics who come and defend Larkin as a great poet. The subject of his poetry is social and political effects of the Great Wars on England. A movement poet, Larkin is considered to be a great movement poet. Movement poets was a group of poets whose subject matter of poetry was to sketch up the dull, drab, and sordid picture of humanity after World War II. B.R. Malik, in his book A New History of English Literature, asserts that Larkin has the genius of both Robert Frost and Thomas Hardy. How? Larkin's poems are as short as the ones by Frost and as skeptic as the works of Hardy. Despite the hidden morbidity in his poems, Larkin does appreciate the little things of life. Prominent themes. The poetry of Larkin is known by a handful selection of themes. Some notable themes of his poems may include like death, melancholy, time, isolation, love, war, and religion. The theme of melancholy is the most prominent theme in his poetry, mostly motivated by pessimism. The theme of death comes as an outcome of the theme of pessimistic melancholy, which is very obvious in his poem 1940, in which soldiers literally sign themselves up for death. Time, according to Larkin, is a force that uses its influence to destroy the mortal men and their important places, as suggested in the ruins of a church in church going. Isolation is the main problem in this crowded modern life, as is obvious in Mr. Bellini. He considers love an illusion, while Larkin thinks that religion will decay with the passage of time as humanity progresses, but he finds spirituality promising and growing. Opinion of critics. Due to sad and pessimistic outlook of Larkin, he is regarded as the saddest heart in the post-war supermarket by Erich Homburger. Larkin is often referred to as, quote, the reluctant poet of the drab and austere surfaces of the post-war Britain, end quote. While his supporters see social realism and the acceptance of the actual but dismal condition of the post-war generation. His narrow selection of ideas was the main reason behind the groaning voices of critics against him. But as he published more collections of poetry like High Windows, the voices against his work seemed to fade away. The following comment appropriately sums up the whole discussion of criticism on Larkin. Quote, regarded for much of his career as a minor poet with a narrow range of subject matter, Larkin now seems to dominate the history of English poetry in the second half of the 20th century, much as T.S. Eliot dominated in the first. Though detractors continue to speak of his gloom, Philistinism, insularity, and anti modernism, the authority and grandiloquence of his long poems, and the grace, the sharpness, or humor of his shorter ones now seem indisputable, as does his clear eyed engagements with love, marriage, freedom, destiny, aging, death, and other far from marginal subjects. End quote. Conclusion. Thus, Larkin is the great poet of the second half of the 20th century. Though at times he may look pessimistic, but he actually portrayed what was felt for real. Sources used for this video are now being displayed.